Okay, well, call us to order, I guess. This is the February 2nd, 22 meeting of the MCSD. From out of the closed session, we had no reportable action. We have a roll call.
Director Bender?
Present.
Director Clark-Peterson? Present. Director Mayo?
Here.
Director Orsini?
Here.
And President Couch.
Here. And Greg, would you like to lead us?
Oh, absolutely. We would be honored. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. Do we have any additions to the agenda?
We have no additions to the agenda.
Thank you. Anybody want to make a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
I'll second.
Director Bender?
Aye.
Director Clark-Peterson? Aye. Director Mayo?
Yes.
Director Orsini?
Yes.
President Couch.
Yes. Right, public hearings. These are items of a quasi-judicial or legislative nature. Public comments relevant to these proceedings are invited. And we have no public hearing scheduled tonight. So we'll move to public comment and written communications. Any person may address the board at this time upon any subject not identified on this agenda, but within the jurisdiction of the McKinleyville Community Services District. However, any matter that requires action will be referred to staff for a report of action at a subsequent committee or board meeting. As to matters on the agenda, an opportunity will be given to address the board when the matter is considered. Votes are limited to 3 minutes. Letters should be used for complex issues. So we will move to the consent calendar now.
So there's any public
Oh,
comment?
any public comment? I was jumping ahead. Anybody? Sorry.
Joey, can you show the attendees, please?
There's some people on, but
Anyone in the
no
Zoom?
one is
Forget about the Zoom.
raising their hand.
You can see
Appears
us.
to be no public comment.
Okay. Well, then we will move to the consent calendar. Consent calendars are expected to be routine and non-controversial, to be acted upon the board of directors at one time without discussion. Any board member, staff, or interested person requests that be removed, it shall be removed so that it may be acted upon separately.
I'll move the consent calendar.
Second.
Thank you.
Director Bender?
Aye.
Director Clark-Peterson? Aye. Director Mayo?
Yes.
Director Orsini?
Yes.
President Couch.
Yes. Okay, well, now we get to move to section E here. I bet you this is what a lot of people are here for. E1, consider adoption of Revolution 2022-01, recognizing, honorizing, and commending David Maldozer for 25 years of service. Let's see who's doing that.
That would be
Okay.
By far the funnest. So recommends that the board of directors consider adoption of resolution 2022-01 honoring David Baldassar for 25 continuous years of service at the McKinleyville Community Services District. Attached is this resolution recognizing, honoring, and commending Dave for 25 years of service. Please join us in presenting David's acknowledging his continuing outstanding contributions to McKinleyville Community Services District. Oh, I can read the resolution right here. Whereas David Baldosser, having faithfully served 25 continuous years as an employee of the McKinleyville Community Services District from February 3rd, 1997 to February 3rd, 2022. So this meeting is almost exactly on the dot. And whereas throughout his years of service, David has demonstrated unwavering loyalty, commitment, and dedication. And whereas David lends his talents, experience, and leadership as a customer service representative and now as the customer service supervisor, capably leading and coordinating the efforts of the customer team with both competent professionalism and sense of humor. And whereas David is deeply dedicated to providing exceptional customer service to our ratepayers and genuinely cares about helping them understand and resolve a wide and varied range of issues, and cares equally deeply about supporting and assisting coworkers, other managers, and department heads with helpful, timely information. And whereas David has developed a tremendous breadth and depth of knowledge about the district, its information systems and processes, not only skillfully ensuring accurate customer billing every month, but also providing complex, specialized, detailed information for audits, rate studies, and many other types of special requests, and generously sharing his expertise. And whereas David's loyalty to the district, unwavering commitment to customers and coworkers, and trustworthiness in all matters truly makes him a valuable asset to the district and to the community of McKinleyville. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Directors of the McKinleyville Community Services District does hereby confer upon David Baldosser its highest commendation for the dedicated service he has performed for the district and the community. Further marks his historic accomplishment as McKinleyville Community Services District employee for 25 years.
All right, well, thank you. So should I let the board speak first or the public first?
You're the press.
We'll go to the board first.
Congratulations. Earlier this month, call you here, because honestly, you don't call me first. I appreciate it.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Having been a coworker of yours, I truly appreciate what you do for the community and what you, and not only that, but what you do for MCSD and also our staff. You're a great leader, a great resource about the district, and just your greeting everybody by their first names when they come in. I think that when you leave, probably half the people that come and pester the window, they'll probably won't come in anymore because you won't be there to talk to. But that's just my kind of thumbnail, kind of off the cuff sort of thing. But thank you very much for everything that you've done for the district, and keep it up, buddy.
I was going to say, same thing that Greg said there, that even before I was on the board, when I would just come in and pay bills, or my wife would come in and pay bills, like you knew our names. And it was like, that was so amazing. So thank you for all that you do.
Congratulations. I don't know if you actually got to know my name, because I always pay online.
I promise you we know your address.
And probably your phone number too. It's scary that way.
That's true. But yes, people, like, I think of my husband's place where someone works long time, like, you are such a steady force in the district and have been there so long, you just must make everyone feel so stable if you're there. And then as a customer to call and have someone who so compassionately coaches you through your bill and guides you, like, that's just such a little thing that makes someone's day and life a little more easy. So thanks for being part of the team and bringing that to it. Congratulations.
Okay, now we'll go to the public.
How about Dennis?
Dennis? Oh, sorry, Dennis has got his hand up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Hi,
thanks.
Dennis.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. I wish I could be there tonight, Dave. It's amazing the job that you do. At the district at itself, you know, staff wise and stuff, we see that. But the thing that it stands out so much is what you do on an interpersonal level with our ratepayers. And I can internalize that personally because several different times over many years, I have worked with you on different pieces of property that had problems, and you have the ability to hone in on not only billing issues, but what time of day were leaks occurring and what was the flow, and sort that stuff out so people can actually go and find difficult things and get them fixed. That's pretty amazing. And you do it not just as a job, but you do it, and the public can tell that you really care about us. So I just want to tell you that means a lot to me personally, but I know it also means a lot to our ratepayers as a group. So thank you, and we want to see you around here for another 25. Bye.
Okay, Greg's.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't use my 3 minutes. I wanted to continue to talk.
Can you reset the?
One of the things, one of the other things, David, that I would like to thank you for is sort of the culture at MCSD. Before we started working there was customer service, but I think that you've elevated that to a higher level, and you've passed that on to the people that you work with. So I think that's very important, that'll be part of your legacy when you leave, is that customer service and carrying that on. And people need to understand how important it is that none of us would get paid if it wasn't for the things that go on in that front office, and how very important it is that runs so smoothly. So thank you very much.
No, we're ready.
Done now.
Okay.
So what was the resolution number?
2022-01.
1002. Enough of this. 20 years, it's interesting to realize Joey was 10 when I started. I do appreciate the district and just being able to be part of the group, part of the family, team, and people that work in the operations, the Parks Department, the board members that commit their time. We all are in this together, and it's a pleasure. I don't think I'll make another 25 years. Audrey ran on the 8. Or that much. I'll be around a little longer. Thank you very much for all the kind words. I appreciate it.
I was also 10 when you started.
Yeah, but you're already working for the district.
I have been working for the district for a while, and one of the things that I picked up on is, as a lot of everyone has said, when it comes to McKinnonville Community Service District, Dave's name, David or Dave, has become almost a household name. I can't count how many times I've been out helping people in the turn the water on, turn the water off, doing double check valves, all things that I do on the field. And I'll be talking to somebody and they say, "Oh, is Dave working today?" I'll just call him. So it's nice knowing that not only when I call in the office, I have someone that is gonna be there that has all the answers, as well as I know the community appreciates it too. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Joey. Go ahead, Bo. I'll sit right here and then watch you though.
I'm gonna change hats here for a couple seconds. You know, Dave was in my interview when I got hired, and he's watched me grow from a snot-nosed know-it-all kid that got hired to a snot-nosed 33-year-old that isn't quite as much of a know-it-all. My ongoing line is that the longer I work there, the smarter Dave gets. But it's pretty incredible to come to work every day under his leadership and his dedication, and by working for and with Dave, I'm an MCSD employee. The district is a better place because of Dave. I'm a better worker in general, but I'm also a better person because of it, and I think we all are. And I think that's pretty special. Congratulations, Dave.
Thank you. I think you just forgot he was only 33.
So I could reiterate what everybody else said about how important you are in the community, but something I want to touch on is an added layer of appreciation that I've gained for you since becoming lead person, decade, whatever it's been. Dave is a great partner to me when we're doing, you know, providing services for the community. You know, putting in new water services, new sewer services. Communication is very good. He calls me, asks me questions. I'm able to call him and ask questions, and we work really well together. And I just want to let you know that I really appreciate that, Dave, as well as all the other stuff that you do for the district. So thank you very much. Thank you.
So one of the things I was going to say was a lot of what Kyle said about how no matter what the situation is, when you're out with a customer, it's always, oh, well, I'll call Dave, or I just talked to Dave. It's pretty cool that everyone in the front office is, you know, a really good representation of the district, but it's funny that like the face of the district is Dave. And one thing that I've got to, as far as the customer service, is one of the things that I've really actually learned from Dave is that the customer is always, like, he always puts himself in front of the customer, and that's something that has actually, over the few years, has actually started to rub off on me just from the service orders and you're hearing his side of the story and his dedication to the customer. That's something that I definitely value from David.
And how old were you when Dave?
I would have been 7.
And I'm going to chime in with stuff that didn't fit into the resolution page, but definitely should be said. First of all, and I know everybody's beating the customer service drum, I'm going to give it one more hit because during this pandemic, when the state and the county were both saying, "Oh, keep the doors closed," you had the window open, and people would literally come in, but they need whatever it is that they needed. They needed information. They needed to clarify something on their bill, something. And even though we weren't allowed to open the front doors, Dave was like, "Over here," and they would come and stand outside his window, you know, proper safe distancing, all of that. But it's like, and he would help them. That's not a small thing. I mean, that's dedication to the community that goes all the way to the bone. That's really special. And I think the thing that doesn't really, and I referred to this a little bit in the resolution, but The thing is, aside from the fact that you care about everybody, the other thing is your depth. You know so much, and you have this wonderful kind of mental filing system that, like, you can just grab whatever fact or bit of information you need that's going to be helpful. You know, and I've seen you talk people through the craziest, messiest stuff, and you know, and there's a lot of you know, where like, I need information. I'll go check with Dave about that. So, you know, it's not just your dedication to the customers, it's your dedication to the information. I mean, to make comprehensible, usable information out of just masses of data. And getting everybody's utility bills out every month. That's not a small process. That's a big process. And we appreciate it. And honestly, Dave, I'm proud to have gotten to work with you for as long as I have. And I really, really appreciate you as a human being, as a supervisor, and as an employee.
I'll jump in real quick, since I made a scene. Your time was up. A couple of things I want to go on what Jordan said about the customer services. We all want to know about customer services. When you are in the field and a customer's arguing with you and they pull the Dave card, you're pretty much done. Like Dave said, Dave said, I guess we're going to do this. But you're done. But I do want to say the drug deal thing, like knock on the door like Dave's come to my window and I can help you. Dave is the district's mental illness person. I just want to throw that out because we have a drop box in the parking lot. We have a paid window or a drop slot at the front door. And then COVID hits, and we're like, how do we get people to like stop paying online? It's like, well, you fired Dave. They won't come in. See, Dave, even today, I want to say like he made some lady cry, but like he was helping her and said like, how's everything going? I forget her name, Dave remembers, I'm sure. And then she starts crying and telling Dave what's going on. And I'm like, oh, like, and I'm looking and I look around the office and like, nobody's fazed by this. Like, this is normal. And I'm like, oh, it's therapy time. And Dave's going to help this customer out. And like, this is super sweet. This happens all the time. Like, people come to Dave just for therapy. It's like, oh, here's my water bill. Like, you have a minute to talk. So, yeah, so Dave will definitely, you're probably going to need to do 25 more years, Dave, because a lot of people's mental health rely on it. But I appreciate you a lot.
Well, I knew I should have jumped in before James, but.
I made a scene. I had to.
But Jordan said you're the face of the district, and that's true, but I really think you're the heart of the district too. Appreciate it, appreciate everything. Thank you very much.
We have themes and possibly photograph.
Yeah, well, let's.
And need a motion.
We need a motion.
We need a motion.
I'll move per staff recommendation.
I'll second.
Director Bender.
Aye.
Director Park Peterson. Aye. Director Mayo.
Yes.
Wake up, Dennis.
Director Orsini.
Yes.
And President Couch.
Yes.
Yes, and there's cupcakes, and we wanna.
Yes, and we have fun things.
Okay. We're all gonna go get a picture?
Let me sign this so you can give him a chance.
See on the floor.
My dad.
And we've got, it's heavy. Heavy. Fairly sized trophy.
At least you didn't drop it and shatter it.
I did not.
it says, making the difference, awarded to David Baldosser in appreciation of your years of outstanding service and dedication. Thank you for truly making a difference. 25 years of excellence.
Congratulations.
Look at me on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Did we all wear open sandwiches?
So, well, we don't have. Like,
Oh, we're gonna have cupcakes. Are we holding off?
you know what?
Cupcakes, get cupcakes.
Cupcakes. Anybody want cupcakes?
Take,
Yes, take your cupcakes.
I've got to take cupcakes for your kids.
You call me.
Take your kid sugar right now. Dave gets very proud of the cupcakes.
Maybe second.
I'm sure. Yes, I know. Oh, man, I was
There's two of them. Easy. Yeah, right.
Yes, you need this on film. This online.
Talk fast. Talk fast.
Icing on the nose.
What? This is where the next one, right?
Lots of weight still to go. Filled up. Greg, do you need water?
Yes, please.
Would you like a napkin?
Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
There you go.
Does he keep getting one? Just get one? I don't know.
Sure, when she eat that.
Can I say that out loud?
Eight cents. There you go.
That was E1.
That was E1.
Yeah, that was E1.
Oh, yeah, well. Moving right along now, we'll go to E2. And E2 is consider appointment of applicant Jennifer Ortega to vacant seat on the Park and Recreation Committee. And that's Leslie.
It is the duty of the Board of Directors to vet and select the most qualified candidates to become members of the Park and Recreation Committee. The Board of Directors is obligated to interview all candidates, discuss the candidate's qualifications, and select the most qualified candidates to serve on the committee by majority vote. There's currently one regular voting member opening and 2 alternate openings on the park. Staff has posted submission notice through local media and at district facilities of these vacancies. Jennifer Ortega submitted an application
can be reviewed in attachment 1 on December 28th, 2021. Staff shared the application and resume with the Park and Recreation Committee at the meeting on January 20th, 2022. The park members unanimously supported Jennifer Ortega being appointed to the park. Staff recommends that the board consider the information provided, air questions, take public comment, and vote on the appointment of Jennifer Ortega to the Parks and Recreation Committee for a 4-year term as a regular voting member. She is here on the Zoom for your questions and interview.
Well, thank you for being here. Look through your resume, and I'm pretty impressed, to say the least. Right? Anyway, thanks for being willing to serve. Anyone else have any?
As a park liaison, I'm pretty pleased to see the qualifications, Jennifer. And, I'm really happy to have you on board. I think it's great after so many vacancies for so long, finally filling it up.
And now we're moving down to alternate seats open. First time I've had a full committee, I think, in these 6 years.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I would just like to say thank you, Jennifer, for your willingness to participate and give back to the community. And I'd also like to echo how impressed I am with your credentials in your resume. So thank you very much. And we'll probably think with some of the skills and abilities you have, we'd probably be able to keep you pretty busy.
Excellent, excellent. I'm looking forward to being a part of it. The kids are grown, and they really appreciate all the opportunities here in the community. And now it's time to get back to the community in this advisory board, and I'm looking forward to it. So thank you.
Thank you very much. We need to do a roll call on this too?
Yes. I need a motion and a.
Okay, we need a.
Oh, Dennis is waving his hand.
Oh, Dennis, sorry.
Wake up, Dave. So I just wanted to say, Jennifer, thank you as well and welcome. You're going to be a very great addition to this operation, and I appreciate you in advance. So thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve the appointment of applicant Jennifer Ortega to the vacant seat on the Park and Recreation Committee.
I'll second it.
Director Bender?
Aye.
Director Clark-Peterson? Aye. Director Mayo?
Yes.
Director Orsini?
Yes.
And President Couch?
Yes.
Thank you, Jennifer. I'm looking forward to seeing more of you.
Thank you, Leslie. Me too. This was wonderful. Thank you, everyone.
Great, thank you. So next we have item A3, which is water and sewer mainline replacement and rehabilitation master plan presentation and acceptance. And that's Pat.
President Couch, the district has been working on master planning efforts focusing on the replacement and rehabilitation of the water and sewer main lines since 2017. The effort included an analysis of all water and sewer main lines throughout the system. The original water distribution system was constructed in 1973, and the original sewer collection system was constructed in 1976. As the system continues to age, replacement and rehabilitation of existing infrastructure will be necessary to maintain an effective functional system. The ultimate goal of this master planning effort is to come up with a cost and prioritized schedule for replacement and rehabilitation of the main lines over the course of 50 to 75 years. This will help to ensure the district is able to continue their high level of service to the community well into the future without putting an undue rate burden on the ratepayers. Phase 1 of the master plan was prepared to provide a framework for planning, funding, and implementing replacement, rehabilitation, and upgrades to the district's water and sewer main.
Phase 2 focused on laying out the capital improvement plan, including the specific projects, budgets, and schedule for both the water distribution and wastewater collection system replacement and rehab. Phase 3A and B of the master planning effort consisted of sampling the chemical properties of the soil and the physical assessment of portions of the system in order to develop an opinion regarding the present day fitness of the pipelines and a corollary of anticipated remaining reliable service life. This physical sampling found that internal degradation of the smaller diameter, the 6-inch and smaller pipes, asbestos cement pipes, the AC pipes, which resulted in the loss of over 50% of the pipe strength. Given these findings, Phase 3C consisted of performing a risk analysis and reassessing the replacement schedule for the master planning effort. These final reports detail the findings of Phase 3C as well as all the other phases. Staff feels they now have a plan for the replacement of the water and sewer main lines, detailing the priorities for the next 50 to 75 years. The Central Avenue Water and Sewer Mainline Replacement Project is the first of many projects. The body of the sanitary sewer mainline replacement and rehabilitation master plan, without the appendices, is included as attachment 1 to your board packets. The complete report can be viewed on the district's website. The body of the water main line replacement and rehab master plan is included as attachment 2. Again, the complete report can be reviewed on the district's website. Patrick Sullivan and Jill Jellison, engineers with GHD who performed the analysis, will present a summary of the findings. Their presentation is included as attachment 3. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jill to do the presentation.
Great, thank you so much, Pat. And I think that I am unmuted, so if everyone can hear me, I'll proceed with the presentation. Awesome, I'm getting a thumbs up from Patrick. So yes, I'm Jill Shelson. I'm an engineer with GHD, and I worked with Pat and Patrick and James on the water and sewer master plan. So I'm here to present this, our work to you today. So thank you for having me. Next slide, please. Okay, so just really briefly, I wanted to go over presentation outline. So I will briefly discuss the first 2 phases of our master planning effort, which started in 2016. I'll focus on our current and final Phase 3 highlights, and then we'll talk about the recommended rehabilitation plans for both the water and sewer system, followed by next steps. Next slide, please. So the previous work, Phases 1 and 2, occurred from 2016 to 2019. The drivers for the project are aging infrastructure reaching the end of its useful life. So the sewer system was installed in 1976 and the water system in 1973. So, you know, both of these systems have a large amount of asbestos cement pipe, which has a useful life of 50 to 70 years. So both the water and sewer system are reaching the end of their useful life, and that is why this master planning effort began in 2016 and, you know, still continues. So the goal of the master plans are to provide a roadmap for the rehabilitation of the sewer and water systems for the district. And I will talk about them as sewer and water systems. We did do master planning for each separately. So you'll see there's 2 separate master plans for each system, but I'll talk about it collectively as master planning because a lot of the steps are the same. So in Phase 1 of the master planning work, we reviewed previous related studies. This included hydraulic studies that identified capacity deficiencies in the system, a preliminary needs assessment, which identified a lot of our high priority projects from those studies. And then a financial analysis was performed by Willdan. Phase 2 work, we evaluated various replacement methodologies and produced a preliminary 50-year schedule. Now, this preliminary 50-year replacement schedule was based on addressing the larger diameter pipes first and then progressing down to the smaller ones. And then additionally, in 2018, as part of Phase 2, a rate study was performed by Willdan, which established a reserve fund for $1 million for each, I should say, the sewer and the water systems per year. So the rate study in 2018 accounted for, you know, the projected 1 million per year for each system. Next slide, please. So phase 3 is our current work. It started in 2020 with field investigation work. And GHD worked with district staff to collect soil and pipe samples. We worked together in order to save costs for the district. With the pipe sampling, you can see in the figure, it does, I know it's small, but you have these figures in your packet as well. There were 3 asbestos cement pipe samples collected of varying diameter pipe. These were sent to a lab for physical testing. We also did camera work for one stretch of sewer system, as well as ultrasonic testing for the thickness of a pipe in one location as well. So this informed the kind of existing conditions for the sewer and the water system pipes. And one discovery that came about from the field investigation was that it's actually the smaller diameter pipes that have less remaining wall thickness to the pipes and have a higher likelihood of failure. So we had, in phase 2, prioritized pipes from larger to smaller, and this field investigation prompted us to reassess how we prioritize the pipes and the rehabilitation. Next slide, please. So we continued in phase 3, C now, with the risk-based prioritization. So we used the field investigation information to inform the pipe conditions. So we basically extrapolated the results from the 3 samples that we took to every single pipe in the network. And then we also did a GIS analysis, a spatial analysis, to assign many consequence of failure scores to the pipes. So our pipe condition and our consequence of failure informed our risk scores, if you will. And what we were trying to do with this was to approach risk from a triple bottom line perspective. So we have scores included in our risk calculations that look at the economics, environmental, and social impacts of pipes failing. So for example, one of the layers we used was the buildings layer. So we wanted to see how near to buildings and other utilities pipes were, because a pipe that is under a building could have higher consequence if it fails. It could be more expensive to repair on an emergency basis. We also looked at environmental factors like how close the sewer system was to water bodies, because a break in a sewer line near a water body could lead to contamination and regulatory impacts. From a social perspective, we looked at where critical facilities are in McKinleyville. So we looked at fire stations, for example. A water main break near a fire station could impede, the fire station's ability to get a truck out of the fire station and respond to a fire in an emergency. So a failure near that kind of critical facility could have a higher consequence of failure. So these are some kind of examples of our consequence of failure scoring. And then we use the condition or the likelihood that a pipe is going to fail and the consequence of failure to calculate risk scores, and then updated the schedule from phase 2 with this risk-based prioritization of rehab. And the figure on the right, by the way, is a map that shows the various layers that we used, and it's also included in the packet. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is the recommended water rehabilitation plan. So the pipes highlighted in red show our priority 1 replacement pipes. And then orange is our 2.1 group, yellow is 2.2 group, and so forth. So what we recommend is that the district would begin with the highest priority pipes, pipe 1, and then work through the various priority groups. And then within each priority, there's also a risk score that can be used to prioritize within the buckets, because even priority 1 may take the district 10 years or so to perform. So there's some prioritization within these groups as well. Next slide, please. So this, again, is the recommended rehabilitation plan now from the sewer master plan, and it follows a similar pattern, red being the highest priority. Particularly for the sewer system, also a lot of the priority projects that were identified in the first phase that had capacity deficiencies or other known issues were, recognized early on, and they were included in our priority 1 group as well. So that's shown in this figure also. Next slide, please. So my last slide before I think we open it to question and answer is this next step slide. So we recommend that the district implement the projects based on the priority and the availability of funding. So recognizing that, it takes time to complete the projects. So availability of funding is a critical component to how these projects get done. And the district has already begun this process with the Central Lab project, sewer and water main replacement projects. Those were identified as high priority projects, and they're currently being implemented. Secondly, we recommend that the district perform visual inspection of the sewer systems before implementing a replacement project, and this is just to confirm the condition of the pipes. We did extrapolate, from the 3 pipe samples that we had to the entire system. So getting a visual representation of what that actual pipe's condition is a good idea. And then the schedule can be updated as necessary with that additional information. We also would recommend that you update the risk model and the schedule as work is performed. So the model can be updated as Central Lab is implemented and other projects, so that the model can be more of a living model and can be updated so that projects that were completed are no longer in kind of the priority groups any longer. Lastly, I want to point out that the costs that we prepared for the master plan are opinions of probable costs, so they're planning level costs. They could vary from the construction costs that you actually have or get from various bids. So I do want to point that out, since we do the best we can when we're planning, but you can expect that there will be variations in that as well. It's not exact. We did evaluate whether the district could perform this work in-house versus contracting, and we found that it was not cost effective for the work to be performed in-house, especially considering a lot of the initial high priority projects that we recommend in the near term do require more specialized equipment, more specialized training. However, we felt that some of the in-house teams could perform some of the replacements, particularly of some of the lower risk or more, not simple, but maybe more straightforward or that type of project could be performed in-house if the district wanted to consider that for cost savings on some of the projects. And that would be great if they didn't have to hire additional staff or train them or acquire specialized equipment. So there is a discussion of that in our master plan document if you want more information about those considerations. So that is the last slide that I had prepared for you. Pat, I can turn it back over to you if you want to lead our Q&A session.
Thanks much, Joe. So I will turn it to the board if they have any questions.
Greg. Thank you. One of the main questions that I had was related to and I didn't see it in there. How would we determine, because we call it 3 different means of replacement of the pipes in the master plan, and that would be open trench and replace the pipe, bursting, and then lining. And how will the determination and when will we decide what pipes are done which way? Because that's going to have a significant cost impact on the project.
Right, yeah. So like for the Central Avenue replacements, that's what we're having the engineer do right now. Gibbs and I had a kickoff meeting for that, and we're looking at all those means and methods for replacing both the water and sewer down Central from Sutter to Hiller. And originally they were coming in and saying that they thought that doing CIPP lining of it would probably be the best, but we just re-videoed the Central Avenue one, and there's a big belly in it and a big disconnect, so we can just line a sewer pipe with a big belly in it, the big belly stays.
Doesn't work, yeah.
So they're probably gonna start shifting towards maybe bursting the pipe, et cetera. So I think it'll be on a project by project basis.
Yeah, and that makes good sense, and that's kind of what I was going to suggest would be that, that as we work forward in this, that we might, when we ask for bids, that we maybe get bids on a couple different alternatives, or realistically, because once we get to the point to where the pipes are very deep in the ground, I think that the pipes are in good enough condition to be able to line. I don't think that, you're gonna either burst them or you're gonna line them. You're not gonna be digging 20 feet in the ground, especially anywhere in McKinleyville where the pipes are 20 feet in the ground. You're not gonna wanna dig those pipes up ever again unless you don't have any other choice. And then another question I had was, related to, I saw the cost associated on the table. It seemed like the water and sewer pipes by diameter were the same cost.
So 6-inch water.
Yeah, it would be like the same cost, and that wouldn't the sewer naturally, because they're deeper in the ground, be more expensive to replace?
I don't know, Jill, do you wanna address that?
Yeah, they would be different in cost. I think that we had it broken down by pipe material and pipe install. So we factored in, kind of an average depth for the pipes in the cost. So they absolutely would be different. I might have to go back and look at the tables and see if that was presented.
Like Jill had said, that those are just cost estimates for like Central Avenue. The way we're approaching that one is we're putting aside $2 million for the water and $2 million for the sewer, so a total of a $4 million project. And right now we're thinking that we're not going to spend $4 million for that stretch of Central Avenue. So I think we are going to break it out like that. Okay, we have this much money. How many feet of pipe can you replace with this much money?
So, and I know, and this is kind of getting out of the scope of what we're trying to do tonight, but so in that case, we'd do probably the same thing with the, when we bid the projects, is we would bid for a dollar amount, not for a length of pipe or a set length of pipe. We would tell them that they could go until they spent $2 million.
Right.
Okay, very good. And I think, let's see, I think I had one other question.
Pat, this is Patrick with GHD. May I add a point there? Greg, this is also gets spelled out in that design phase, like with Central Avenue now, they're preparing a basis of design report. So that detailed cost estimate and the evaluation of what method you're going to use, whether it's a deep trench or, burst or line, that happens in that basis of design report. So we get a chance to look at it again, and that evaluation happens in the design phase, like's happening right now with Central Ave.
Yeah, thank you, Patrick. And then the only other observation I had was the assumption was that the construction crews would be working 12 months out of the year, and I don't see underground work happening 12 months out of the year. So I don't know if we want to go back and refine that and take another look at it, or if staff's happy with the assumptions that they do, whether or not it's cost effective to contract out all the work.
Well, James can do the simple projects. And I think we will have the district staff do the smaller diameter located up at the end of the road, those type of projects. And I think we are going to look at perhaps hiring, a couple extra operations type folks, and we get into those type of projects.
And then they would just work year round, but they would only get.
Right.
So you got me.
We
have any other discussion?
If not, staff recommends that the board review the information provided, listen to the presentation, which we've just heard, take public comment, and accept the water and sewer main line replacement and rehabilitation master plan reports.
Yeah, I just have one more thing, and then
Go ahead.
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to thank staff for working on this. I want to thank Director Corbett for paving the way for this and making it a priority, to give me the latitude to be able to set other things aside so that we could work on this project and get it started. It's very important that we get it done. I'd also like to thank the board for having the courage to set the rates up so that we could put away $1 million for water and $1 million a year for sewer for this project. And also the ratepayers, I'd like to go on record thanking the ratepayers for passing the 218 process that allowed us to do this. And I'll thank Will Dan, GHD, and our staff together this report. It's very comprehensive. We're going to be using this barring any modifications for the next 50 to 70 years. So thank you very much for your hard work on this, you guys, for helping this get done. Same thing to the GHD staff.
Yep, the maps are up on my wall.
And Dennis, Dennis, I'm ready for you. Just a thumbs up? Okay.
So barring any other comments from the board or from the public, which we haven't asked the public to speak on that.
Oh, okay.
I will move per staff recommendation to accept the water and sewer master plan. as
Second.
presented.
Anyway. Nope. Online.
Director Bender.
Aye.
Director Parker Peterson. Aye. Director Mayo.
Yes.
Director Orsini.
Yes.
President Couch.
Okay. We're done with that for 15, 25 years.
Well, other than when they start bringing back $1 million contracts for us to approve.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Patrick.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Okay, E4 is discuss and consider approval of resolution 2205, adopting the mitigated declaration and mitigation monitoring and reporting program for the 4.5 million gallon water storage tank project and approving the project. Again.
Thank you, President. As the board is fully aware, the district proposes to add a new 4.5 million gallon water storage reservoir to its existing water distribution system. The project is to construct a new reservoir and access road at MCSD's existing Cochrane Road tank site. 2 tanks with a total storage volume of 2.5 million gallons are currently at the site and will remain in use. The new reservoir will be located southeast of the existing tanks and will supplement MCSD's existing storage volume, increasing distribution system resilience in a seismic or other emergency event. The 4.5 million gallon reservoir will be a circular pre-stressed concrete tank constructed on site. The reservoir will be 142 feet in diameter and have a total height of 52 feet. It will be backfilled around its full circumference to a depth of 18 to 30 feet to resist sliding forces associated with earthquake events. Road access will be from the existing tank site off Hilltop Lane. A 17-foot wide paved road with 3-foot swale, lost my spot, will be provided around the reservoir to provide access for routine maintenance. All permanent cut slopes will be constructed to a gradient of 2 to 1. Total area of disturbance, including the tank site, outfall pipeline, construction staging area, and excavated material storage area, will be approximately 113,800 square feet, or 2.61 acres. A new overflow drain line will be constructed that will serve both new and existing reservoirs at the site. The new 8-inch drain line will be routed to the northeast to drain towards the existing storm drain system on the south side of Cochran Road. Sections of the new drain pipeline will be buried with approximately 260 feet being constructed above grade to minimize impacts to the environmentally sensitive area located northeast of the proposed 4.5 million gallon reservoir. The new drain will be utilized for tank overflow for the existing stormwater drainage. So an initial study of mitigated neg deck was prepared detailing the project components and potential environmental impacts as required by the California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA. Attachment 1 in your board packets is a portion of the ISM&D. The full document and comments are located on the State Clearinghouse website. The ISM&D was circulated and filed with the State Clearinghouse along with the notice of completion on December 10th, 2021. And that's included as attachment 3 in your board packets. The notice of intent to adopt was published in the Mad River Union on December 15th, 2021, which is attachment 2. Only one comment was received, and it was from the State Water Resources Control Board, and that comment letter is included as attachment 4. The comment letter stated the need to permit the new tank with the State Division of Drinking Water. Response to comment is provided as attachment 5. CEQA also requires that when adopting a mitigated negative declaration, the lead agencies shall also adopt a program for reporting on or monitoring the changes which it has either required in the project or made a condition of approval to mitigate or avoid significant environmental effects. Toward that end, a mitigation monitoring and reporting plan, or MMRP, was prepared as attachment 7. The MMRP details the mitigation measures contained in the MMD and outlines and summarizes how the measures will be monitored, who is responsible for performing or seeing the monitoring is performed, and the necessary reporting requirements. The board will need to adopt the MMRP as part of the CEQA process. So staff recommends the board review the information, discuss, take public comment, and approve resolution 2022-05, which adopts the mitigated declaration and the mitigated monitoring reporting program, and approves the 4.5 million gallon water storage tank project, and directs the general manager to file the notice of determination with the county within 5 days. That I'll turn it over to the board, and staff for Plan West is also here.
Do they have any report, or they're just here for
No,
questions?
just for questions.
Okay. We have questions, or what's our daily water use? I mean, we're going to go up to like 7 million gallons in storage. So how many days is that of storage?
It puts it to 4.5 days.
What?
It puts it to 4.5.
4.5. Okay, I'm sorry. How many days is that of storage? Just
so it pushes it up to 4.5.
Oh, okay.
And
That's
if,
okay.
if there's an earthquake or something and we implement water conservation, we're thinking we can squeeze a week out of it, but all of our tanks with that.
4.5 days adequate fire flow. Doesn't waste the water.
Right.
4.5, and then still leaks fire flow. Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's not very relevant to what we're talking about today, but the new tank height is going to be 50 feet, and that's for slosh. That's the seismic recommendations for slosh.
Yeah, and it actually, with the hillside, with making sure it doesn't slide down the hill, they required it, to be buried too, but yes.
To be pushed back into the hillside a little bit more. And that'll cut that, and being pushed back in the hillside will help minimize the site issues that we're going to have with it, because it'll almost be buried to the.
Right, and as part of the documentation, there was a visual analysis in there too, and it is pretty amazing. You can't really.
Yeah, it was kind of small, but it was small in what I did, but yeah, it's going to work out really good if we paint it green or something like that. Nobody will know. Have we thought of maybe putting a couple of fake trees on top of it or something like that?
Fake trees. We have trees around it.
Yeah, I know. I saw
Yoga mat.
But it's domed, isn't it? I can do a concave one, so we don't have to go with the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a goat stone.
It's the goat stone stand up. Oh, there'll be one goat stand in the middle and the top of it.
Top goat.
Yeah, the top goat.
Okay, anybody have any comments on the exciting stuff we do here that pertains to infrastructure?
I'll move for staff recommendation.
I'll second it.
Director Bender?
Aye.
Director Clark Peterson? Aye. Director Mayo?
He said yes.
He's muted. Okay. Director Orsini?
Yes.
President Cowan?
Yes.
Yes.
There he is.
I like Dennis's dramatic pauses.
It's kind of a delay.
There's a huge delay.
Thanks, Vanessa.
Thank you.
We have a $12 million budget and got like the worst internet in the world.
I think it's a holdover from the previous administration.
There you go.
All right.
You guys can run on fixing the internet at the
E5 is consider approval of resolution 2022-02 supporting single payer bills for healthcare reform. That's Pat again. I'm going to comment first. We're through 500 pages of it.
We're definitely on the downhill side.
Yeah. So at the November 2021 Board of Directors meeting, members from Humboldt Chapter of Healthcare for All presented a request for support of a resolution regarding single payer bills for healthcare reform. In October of 2018, the board approved a similar single payer resolution, but Healthcare for All requested an updated resolution. Resolution that Healthcare for All would like the board to consider for adoption is included as attachment 1 in your board packet. The resolution states that the board supports the California Assembly Bill CalCare AB 1400 and the Federal House Resolution Improved Medicare for All HR 1976. A fact sheet and the Legislative Council's digest and the text of AB 1400 are included as attachment 2. The text of HR 1976 is included as attachment 3. As the board is probably, AB 1400 was not brought up for vote yesterday, which would have required it to have been brought for vote to get passed this year. So there's no way that it is going to pass this year. But the first paragraph of the Legislative Council's digest for AB 1400, the California Guaranteed Healthcare for All Act states, this bill, the California Guaranteed Healthcare for All Act, would create the California Guaranteed Healthcare for All Program, or CalCare, to provide comprehensive universal single-payer healthcare coverage and a healthcare cost control system for the benefit of all residents of the state. The bill, among other things, would provide that CalCare cover a wide range of medical benefits and other services, and would incorporate the healthcare benefits and standards of other existing federal and state provisions, including the Federal Child Health Home Insurance Program, or Medi-Cal, and ancillary healthcare or social services covered by regional centers for persons with developmental disabilities, Knox-Keene, and the federal Medicare program. The bill would require the board to seek all necessary waivers, approvals, agreements to allow various existing federal healthcare payments to be paid to CalCare, which would then assume responsibility for all benefits and services previously paid for with those funds. The board is directed to the fact sheet in the remainder of the Legislative Council's digest on pages 1 and 2 of attachment 2 for a summary of what else AB 1400 does. Staff could not find definitive costs or saving estimates for AB 1400. Assemblymember Jim Wood voted to move AB 1400 forward as part of the Assembly Health Committee. So HR 1976, or the Medicare for All Act of 2021, establishes a national health insurance program that is administered by the Department of Health and Human Services. Among other requirements, the program must, 1, cover all U.S. residents, 2, provide for an automatic enrollment of individuals upon birth or residency in the United States, And 3, cover items and services that are medically necessary or appropriate to maintain health or to diagnose, treat, or rehabilitate a health condition, including hospital services, prescription drugs, mental health, and substance abuse treatment, dental and vision services, and long-term care. The bill prohibits cost sharing, or for example, deductibles or co-insurance and co-payments, and other charges for covered services. Additionally, private health insurers and employers may not offer coverage that is supplemental to and not duplicative of benefits provided under the program. Health insurance exchanges and specific federal health programs terminate upon program implementation. However, the program does not affect coverage provided through the Department of Veterans Affairs or the Indian Health Service. The bill also establishes a series of implementing provisions relating to 1, healthcare provider participation, 2, HHS administration, and 3, payments and costs, including the requirement that HHS negotiate prices for prescription drugs. Excuse me. Individuals who are age 18 or younger, age 55 or older, or already enrolled in Medicare may enroll in the program starting 1 year after enactment of this bill. Other individuals may buy into the program at this time. The program must be fully implemented 2 years after the enactment. Costs and savings for HR 1976 were not readily available. Congressmember Huffman is a co-sponsor of HR 1976. It's frankly beyond staff's expertise to judge the pros and cons and provide reliable direction to the board on to help us. Staff reached out to the district's insurer or Aqua JPIA to see if they could provide information on how they might impact the district's insurance. JPIA has not done an analysis of the provided recommendation. Members of districts have expressed concern regarding how particularly if 100 would impact retired, if it was at retired or retiring staff's healthcare insurance if they moved out of the state. Staff is fully busy with the running of the district and was reluctant to spend additional time on the research of these bills without board direction. So staff recommends that the board review the material provided, take public comment, and consider the approval of Resolution 2022-02 supporting SIP-payer bills for healthcare reform. Okay.
That was a mouthful.
Yes.
Right. Needs that water.
I'm tired.
Well, anyone on the board have a comment on this?
Can we check and see if there's anybody?
Any in the public have a comment? Are you here for this?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you want to address us?
Yeah, sure.
You're still gonna stay for the rest, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna just go home and watch it online though. I'm Ross Ward. I'm also from the Healthcare for All group, and I went to McKinley High. I don't live right now. However, I do live locally. I have been on the open market on Covered California, and like increasing. My rates go up every year, and my coverage usually decreases. That's the system we have now with health insurance. I think single payer would be a great alternative. It would lower administrative costs, bureaucracy, and a whole litany of other issues that are caused by our very defunct healthcare system we have currently. So I urge the board members to vote in supporting this resolution. Although AB 1400 is essentially dead in the water, this is still just to show that are other our elected officials that we support at the level. So please vote in support of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone
Catherine,
online?
Yeah, there's one person online.
Okay.
Or there's like 4.
Oh, there's 4.
That want to speak? Okay. April will, or Joey will start at the top, I guess. I can't see it, so.
Catherine Donahue is up first. Thank you.
Yes. Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes. Hello, we can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay, great. My name is Catherine Donahue. I'm a registered nurse. I'd like to thank the CSD board for considering this resolution. The CSD board is concerned about the health of your community. I live in the 95519 Community Service District area, and I would like to encourage the board to vote on this resolution in support. One big reason is your own costs for buying health premiums for your employees would go a long way in helping provide more money for the infrastructure bills, the infrastructure that you're going to be working on for the next several years. Nothing's going to happen overnight. This is something that would take several years to implement. It says 2 in this particular bill. We at Healthcare for All Group are not, of course, but that this didn't get voted on and passed into the Senate. However, over 70% of the population here in California is in favor of this, and we've been doing lots and lots of work statewide on getting this to happen. Mr. Wood has come around to understand that this would be a great cost savings, both privately for those of us that have to pay premiums, co-pays, and deductibles, but also businesses that have to buy insurance for their employees. It would be a great cost savings, and that's been shown in many, many studies. So please consider supporting this resolution. There will be further work done on having something like this happen in California. This isn't going to go away. Our healthcare system is very broken. People aren't getting access to the care that they need. And we are encouraging elected bodies to please support this so that it can move. And our elected congresspeople in Sacramento will understand that this is very important for everybody that lives here in California. And I applaud you on your work on your infrastructure restructuring, and this will help you pay for it if something like this could pass. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello?
Yes.
Hi, my name is
Yes, we can
Patty
hear
Harvey.
you. Go ahead.
Yes, okay, my name is Patty Harvey, and I am co-chair of this same group, Humboldt chapters of Healthcare for All and Physicians for a National Health Program. And I would like to reiterate the last 2 speakers. Their points are exactly where I'm going also. First, I would like to congratulate you on the performance of your board is so refreshing. You have a celebratory atmosphere and a kind of levity that's very refreshing. I have not heard this before in all the board meetings we've been to. So also you're in very good company with the service districts in the area. Manila and Willow Creek, where I live, have both passed these resolutions, as well as the city councils of Trinidad, Arcata, Eureka, and Blue Lake. So this area has definitely seen the advantages on the local level for not just individuals and families saving money and not having to, if this program was instituted, saving money of not having to pay for premiums and co-pays and deductibles and other out-of-pocket costs and hospital bills and doctor bills, all those would go away. Instead, a progressive income tax and some other business taxes, which would be so much less than businesses and individuals now pay. When people speak against this program, they always say additional taxes will break the bank. But we are not proposing additional taxes, as I think you have seen, but we're proposing replacing the taxes that people already pay in terms of the premiums and co-pays that I've just mentioned, replacing those costs with a very low cost commitment to provide enough revenue to give everyone in the local area the kind of healthcare that they need to be productive members of society. So it seems like we're talking about something on the state level, and we're talking about something on the federal level, but it's really a very local issue. And so I encourage you to take this up and pass this resolution as was requested by the last 2 speakers who spoke very well for it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. back to the board.
President Couch.
Oh, go ahead.
It's all right, I'm not speaking as the finance director, I'm just speaking as myself. And I would just like to offer a very short counterpoint to what has been proposed. The fact is, and I'll be the first person to admit that the current system is broken. I will absolutely not argue that. That is obvious to absolutely everyone. However, I do not believe for one moment that creating a massive and ever-growing statewide bureaucracy, or indeed another federal bureaucracy, is the proper way to fix it. I don't believe that creating those kinds of bureaucracies accomplishes what they're purported to accomplish. And nobody wants to admit that those bureaucracies all have costs, massive costs. And those costs do get pushed out to the people, just not the people who particularly use them. It's basically a form of robbing Peter to pay Paul. And it runs out of money. I've looked at the governor's proposal for additional taxes. The gross receipts tax alone is ruinous. It's appalling. And it's going to hit a lot of small businesses that have already suffered enough through this pandemic. And they're not just, oh, well, they're just, business owners, they have plenty of money. No, there are neighbors, there are friends. I mean, this is a local issue, but there's two sides to it. We've already seen in this pandemic how well, being a little sarcastic here, the SBA and other major, massive federal bureaucracies have performed in getting help and relief to individual people, to small businesses who really need it. And I'm not talking about Gavin Newsom's vineyard wine tasting stuff or whatever he is doing down there in the valley. That is not efficient. That is not helpful. And we've got to, it's like, I know that single payer is a simple, attractive, obvious solution, and a lot of times what I hear is just pass this thing, and it's almost like utopia will now ensue. It won't. We're going to replace a whole bunch of broken problems with a whole bunch of other broken problems. That's not a good way to do it. There are actually mechanisms that have a pretty good proven track record of providing better and better services at lower and lower costs. But somehow I don't hear any of those things ever talked about when we're talking about providing health care, ever. And until I start hearing some of those practical, tried, proven solutions, I have to keep opposing this. And it's not because the system isn't broken, the system is broken. I'll go back to that. But there are better ways to fix it than what's being proposed.
Thank you. Sure. Anyone on our list that wants, has a hand up? Okay, we'll bring it to the board.
May I speak again?
Sure.
May I speak again?
Yeah, if you want.
Okay, very quickly, in a rebuttal, respectfully.
Okay, just once though, we're not.
Yes. Medicare for all, we already have an existing structure and bureaucracy. If we fund it and make it more streamlined, we won't have the existing private healthcare insurance companies that are making a lot of profit off of us. So that's just one quick rebuttal. And that is my time. Thank you very much. And thanks for your time.
Thanks.
Thank you.
There is a hand now.
Nope. Okay.
It's Corinne.
I can't see up there.
Hello, Dr. Corinne Frugoni.
I can hear you.
You cannot hear me? Hello?
We can.
You can, thank you.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, my name is Dr. Frugoni, and I worked for 23 years at United Indian Health Services, and I worked at Humboldt State University at the Student Health Clinic. And I know firsthand how broken our system is. And I want to say that single payer has been proven to work very well in some countries that have a single payer system. The other countries, all the industrialized countries have universal coverage for everyone. And they have overall fared better than this country in terms of the pandemic, which affects poorer people and people of color at a greater cost than most other people, but also people who are in the lower social scale. If we followed what the financial director just reviewed, we would have no Medicare program for seniors. And the Medicare program, which was established in 1965, has run extremely well and has lengthened the life of seniors. What we would like to see is a Medicare program for all people, all residents in the United States, and simplify that structure and actually add more services. And we can do that when we take the profit motive out of the system that we have now. Unfortunately, healthcare is a very profitable business for big insurance. And that is why we're finding more and more entities trying to invest in healthcare, because it makes billions. And the insurance companies at this time have actually made even more money the pandemic. We're trying to stop that. We're actually trying to provide health care. And the government is only the insurer in this system. It is not delivering care. It would provide more autonomy for physicians to actually deliver the care that we are trained to do. Right now, we are accountable to insurance companies to save money. We're assuming the risk so that companies can take the profit and give it to their shareholders. I don't want to assume the risk for an insurance company. I just want to treat patients. I don't want to have to what's called do a wallet biopsy. I want to see patients based on their healthcare needs, not on their insurance status. I hope you reconsider and do vote for this resolution in favor of establishing a high-quality healthcare system that is equally accessible to all. Just imagine having a card in your pocket and you could go to any doctor and any hospital. It is not a pipe dream. It already exists. And no system is perfect, but this one is a much, much better alternative to what we have now. And it is worth trying for this country. We could have the best healthcare system in the world.
All right, thank you.
I have two more hands.
We got,
One more hand up.
one more hand up, yeah. Harvey again.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna.
Hello. Could I just say one more thing briefly? Dr. Frugoni is quite correct in what she just said, and I would just like to extend that observation that we are not asking anyone to reinvent the wheel. There are some 40 other industrialized democracies on Earth that are using some form of a single payer system and provide universal health care for their residents. And they not only spend about half of what we have better health outcomes. This is already a proven track record for universal health care. And it's something that we should not only emulate, but actually improve upon. And there's no reason why in this wealthiest of countries on Earth that we cannot do this. So I hope you will consider joining the rest of the civilized world and helping to provide healthcare for all residents. Thank you.
Thank you. We have more hands, or we, okay, now we'll bring it back to the board for, if we have comments.
I'll go, I guess. So the resolution that we have in front of us has a support for two bills. It doesn't have a support for the concept of single pay or anything like that. It specifically calls out support for two bills. One of them now that's been withdrawn because it couldn't get 41 votes, it couldn't get 50% plus one to get out of the assembly. And also another issue with this bill is that this bill is completely contingent on an amendment to the California Constitution being made that would have required a 2/3 vote to generate the $3 to $4 billion, $300 to $400 billion a year that it would cost to run it. And one of the things too, in ACA, California 11, it includes a 2/3 tax on businesses that have at least 2 million annual revenues, a 1.5% tax on payroll for companies that have at least 50 employees, a 1% tax for those employees who pay, for those employers who pay at least $49,000. A 1% tax for those employers who pay employees at least $49,900. AC 11 also includes a series of tax hikes on wealthier people, starting with a 0.5% levy on incomes, combined incomes of $149,000 per year per family, and a 2.5% income tax for people who make more than $2.48 million per year. So there are going to be costs associated with this, but I think it's moot right now because it can't even get out of assembly, and those are just my. And one thing that I'd like to say is I'm kind of skeptical about California's ability to be able to pull something like this off, considering the fiasco when they tried giving unemployment to everybody during COVID, and there's been over $4 billion worth of fraud that they're never going to be able to collect back from the people that stole money from the taxpayers of the state of California. So anyway, those are just some of my opinions. Thank you.
Okay, my opinion is this: just simply because AB 1400 is listed in this resolution and died in the assembly, it's no longer accurate. So I came to this purely because the resolution is no longer accurate. Additionally, this does not fall under the auspices of the mission of our district. Even when it says to provide the services in a prudent financial fashion, we don't have the information to say that it would or wouldn't. So I don't have adequate information to support this or not.
Dennis, are you?
Nah, I got nothing to say. Road to hell's paved with good
Okay.
intentions.
Well, I don't want to have to say anything. I feel like I'm at the dinner table with my dad, but I'm really torn about it because personally I completely believe in universal health care for everybody, but it also feels like why is the MCSD having to weigh in on this topic? And I trust that you know way more than me and about this, but I would support the resolution as it stands, but it doesn't look like we will, but just for the record. And all these people, no one comes to these meetings, but so many people have come out to speak on this note, so I just want to recognize that too.
Yeah. Good point.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd also like to thank everybody who took the time to come out and support of this. So thank you for your participation.
No. Anybody want to make a motion? Are we? Or do we want to let it die? We don't make a motion.
Yeah, if there is no motion, then it just dies. Does not.
Okay, I hear a silence, so I think we will move to the next item on the agenda then. I don't know, I'm not sure, is that the correct parliamentary thing for?
Yes.
Okay,
Of course it is, Dave. Run the meeting.
all right, thank you, everybody. Right, E6 is consider approval of resolution 2022-03, reviewing and approving with amendments, board policies and procedures related to governance, ethics, and board conducts, and that's April.
Thank you. So Pickerington Community Services District has been accredited with the, under the Special District Leadership Foundation, SDLF, District of Distinction Program since May 2015. To maintain this accreditation, MCSD must reapply regularly. It's now a 3-year cycle instead of a 2-year cycle, so this is our year to reapply. The District of Distinction Accreditation is designed as a way for districts to highlight prudent fiscal practices along with other areas important to effectively operate and govern a special district. All accreditation materials are required to have a biannual review minimum. Required material submissions is the district's ability to demonstrate that their operations conform to all statutes and regulations under state law as reflected in the Policies and Procedures Manual. Board policies and procedures should focus on governance, ethics, and board. Board policy manual is reviewed annually by staff training. Various changes include the addition of meeting requirements, board direction given September 9, 2020, and draft changes of the board's self-evaluation process, which was given direction in August 5th, 2020. Those were added in 2020. In January, the board discussed amending the names and duties of the audit committee to the audit and finance committee and providing for expanded duties for review of other financial materials as necessary. Staff has amended pages 23 and 24 to reflect these desired changes and can be found in attachment 2 through a redlined version copy of the board manual. No other revisions were needed at this time. Staff recommends that the board review the draft update and board policy manual, ask questions, take public comment, and adopt resolution 2022-03 to approve with amendment CSD board of directors policy manual related to policies and procedures on governance, ethics, and board conduct.
Thank you. Well, let's see. Steve is here now.
So I've got a question.
So we'll go back to the board.
So I have a question for April.
Yes.
So does, so this is the District of Distinction, and then we also have the transparency certificate, and that will be coming back to the board soon, or is there anything, what's the status?
Well, so that's also a 3-year thing, so I'm currently reviewing everything that needs to happen for those. This is just one of those.
This is just for the District of Distinction.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
This is one of the many things that needs to be done.
So barring any comment from the board, I'll move to pass this per staff recommendation.
Second.
Director Bender?
Aye.
Director Clark Peterson? Aye. Director Mayo?
Yes.
Director Orsini?
Yes.
And President Couch?
Yes. All right, E7 is review information for the draft capital improvement plan for the Parks and General Fund fiscal year 2022-23. Bring her official hat.
Yes, I can put my official hat back on, take my opinionated hat off. Okay. The detailed draft of the proposed, or the current proposed fiscal year 22-23 capital improvement plan for the Parks and General Fund is attachment 1. It covers the next 10 fiscal years. The majority of budgeted expenditures, well, actually that's not entirely true. The smaller expenditures are anticipated to be covered by assessments and user fees. The bulk of this particular proposal is grant dependent. And so if the board has any questions on specific projects or the grant funding sources for any of these projects, I will happily hand the microphone over to Leslie and she can walk you through them. Just kind of the FYI, every year the process for the budget is to bring the capital improvement plans in line item detail for parks in February, for operations in March, and then we get to the operating budgets. Parks go draft budgets. These are all draft budgets. Parks in April, operations in May, and then we put the final budget together with all any modifications, questions, more information. We have that put together in June. We bring that to the board for action. Everything up until that point is just information items, just so you're familiar with what's going into that budget document. And then the board takes action in June, and then we're ready when we start July 1st with budget for the new year. So that's where we're at, and this is like the beginning of the process. So there you go. Questions on any detail, any line item, any funding source? Feel free to ask. Right.
So the things on the the line items on here, and thank you for designating the things in yellow as being things that will be grant funded. If those grants don't happen to come through, then those things will be deferred until later, or will there be a choice of maybe using reserves on them, or how will that work?
So the things that are grant dependent right now, with the exception of there's one error that I didn't catch in my editing, the Pillar Sports Site fence, that's going in right now. So that's actually this year. Yeah, so like the BMX track, we're waiting for the grant contract, so that money is coming. The skate park, I just submitted another grant application, so we'll find out, and that won't happen. The carpet replacement at the library, I'm trying to get grant funded. It may or may not, we may or may not look at using reserves or FMB funds for that. The Dahlia Hall stuff is the per capita grant, so that I submitted the application. I haven't heard from them, but that's not competitive, like that money.
Yeah, we'll get that money when they get around to it.
Yeah. So I don't anticipate that not coming through. And the Pearson Park restrooms will be included in the skate park grant because the upgrade to that is required by the permit to build the skate park.
Okay.
So it's grant funded or not at all.
Thank you.
Anyone else have a comment? You don't have to take an action on this one. It's an information. Is consider granting authorization to the general manager to work with Green Diamond Resource Company to develop grant applications for joint fuel break projects at the community forest / private property interface. Are there
Couch. The state of California has recently opened grant funding opportunities for forest fire protection and fire prevention. The CAL FIRE Fire Prevention Grants provide funding for fire prevention projects and activities in and near fire-threatened communities. Funded activities include hazardous fuel reduction, wildfire prevention planning, and wildfire prevention education, with an emphasis on improving public health and safety while reducing greenhouse gas emissions. The Fire Prevention Grants Program funds 3 types of activities: hazardous fuel reduction, fire prevention planning, and fire prevention education. CAL FIRE's Forest Health Program funds active restoration and reforestation activities aimed at providing for more resilient and sustainable forests to ensure future existence of forests in California, while also mitigating climate change, protecting communities from fire risk, strengthening rural economies, and improving California's water and air. Eligible activities include forest fuels reduction activities that focus on treating understory trees and brush with the goals of reducing fire hazards, improving tree growth, stabilizing carbon in retained trees, and increasing forest resilience. The district has been talking to Green Diamond about teaming up on these grants, with Green Diamond taking the lead and the district writing letters of support. As Green Diamond has been working on the grants and talking to the resource agencies have suggested that the grant applications would be stronger coming from the district as opposed to Green Diamond. In fact, Green Diamond couldn't apply for the fire protection as the applicant has to be a public agency. These programs require matching funds, and Green Diamond is still willing to take the applications and project descriptions. 2 maps that Green Diamond prepared to start to develop project descriptions. These provide an example of the type of projects that would be considered for the community forest property. The fact that the district may have to take the lead on these grant applications just came to light on January 24th. After discussions with the Community Forest Board Committee, Directors Mayo and Orsini suggested that the board approve a blanket authorization for the general manager to sign documents as necessary. Any final grant applications will be brought back to the board for their information. Requirements for any funding expenditures other than staff time will be brought back to the board for approval. Although, as mentioned, neither of these grants require matching funds. So staff recommends that the board review the information provided, listen to staff presentation, take public comment, and authorize the general manager to work with Green Diamond Resource Company to develop grant applications for the implementation of fuel break projects and to sign grant applications and other necessary documents as required. Thank you. Board comments? Shaking heads.
Pass the Group 6 for staff recommendation.
E8.
Or E8, sorry, oh, no
That's
glasses.
fine.
I'll second that.
Director Bender?
Aye.
Director Clark Peterson?
Aye.
Director Mayo?
Yes.
Director Orsini?
Yes.
And President Couch?
Yes.
Thanks for noticing.
Okay. We're on to reports now. So we got active committee reports. Let's start with A, Parks and Recreation Committee. Under Clark Peterson. We're jumping ahead here.
Hey, that's
onto
me.
the report.
No, I have nothing further to add to the report than Director Frisbee.
Okay. Area fund.
Did not meet.
Road Region Economic Development Commission.
Yeah, maybe Professor Madrone will say more, but our speaker was Madeline DeLapp from Humboldt County Growers Alliance. And she was telling us about the dismal reality of cannabis farmers right now, and that they are asking, or they asked on yesterday for the soups to not forget, suspend the tax. There's a big balloon payment coming up that the farmers basically can't afford right now because of all these reasons. California permitted too many farms. There's been a mega drop in prices. So they just need a moment to breathe and come up with a new tax structure with the county that can work for everybody. So yesterday, though, the soups decided they're going to have a special meeting and make a decision. So the decision did not happen yesterday, but it was really interesting, and it's not looking good for that part of our community.
Supply and demand.
Yeah. So that's the report. Oh, and REDEC moved. They moved to a different location after I don't know how many years in their old one. They're now above the siren song in that pretty brick building, is how I think of it. In Old Town.
Cocktails when you get done. You can have cocktails when you get done.
Yeah.
At 11 in the morning. All right, well, you're up again for McKinleyville Senior Center Board.
Did not meet.
Oh, don't, I'm sorry. Audit? We did not meet.
No, I don't think we meant to be.
Oh, employee negotiations, we did not meet. McKinleyville Municipal Advisory.
Probably. You did the one on.
I did the one on, what teen was it? You have to write everything down.
Yeah, but I wasn't there at that meeting, so I don't have notes for that one.
Okay, there were two meetings.
It was on the 19th.
Okay, the meeting on the 19th, I was absent, and it's like the previous month's meeting or the meeting before this.
Split 2 pages now.
Yeah, we just waded through the 2 pages, a lot of comments, and we were talking about roof line design, pedestrian-oriented space, mixed-use, general area standards mainly. And once those 2 pages were crushed out, it was late. How'd your meeting go?
We did have one before that. We had the 29th, which would have been the end of the month meeting. And we, of course, had our safety, our community safety updates from both Battalion Chief versus his Assistant Chief Nell Campbell, and Detective, or Lieutenant Miller wasn't there. But anyway, we went through the town center. We worked on the growth, talked about growth projections in McKinleyville. I think Pat had a side conversation about that. Pat, I think, is going to meet with the county about their, I don't want to say about their assumptions. I'll be nice and not say what I was thinking about their assumptions about the level of growth that they're expecting in the town center area, in whether or not our infrastructure will be able to handle that. This was something like in the neighborhood of 1,100 housing units would be added to the town center. Yeah, 1,100. So anyway, and then we worked through more of the draft ordinance language, and that was about all we got on the 29th. And then and on the, I think we met anyway, never mind. So then we also met on January 26th. And we covered more on the input, or on the town center ordinance. It was along the lines of we talked about transportation and also, I think we covered mostly about transportation.
Yeah, mainly the street layout.
Mainly the street layouts, and there was quite a bit of hubbub about the proposal to narrow Central Avenue between, I can't remember, was it between Hiller and Reeser or something like that?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Between Hiller and Reeser down to a single lane going north and a single lane going south. In that area, and that was met with a level of approval from part of the crowd, and then a level of skepticism on the reality of that from another portion of the crowd. There was also some pushback related to whether or not there needs to be a design review committee created that would be separate from the McMac. And that was yet to be discussed, and also talked about the wetlands and the switching of the wetlands in the town center area to be consistent with the rest of the McKinleyville, or I mean the Humboldt County general plan, as opposed to the inland part of it, as opposed to the McKinleyville community plan, which the language related to single parameter wetland is consistent with the coastal area, but not with the inland part of it. So that'll be getting trued up so that the area plan is actually consistent with the Humboldt County general plan. And if there's any other questions you have related to that, you can shoot me an email or call.
Chief Campbell announced that he's.
Oh, that's right. Chief Campbell's
resigning
or retiring. And we also changed, thank you for that. And we also voted officers. So Bonnie Oliver will now be the president or the chair of the committee. Kevin Jenkins will be the vice chair. I will be the secretary until they see how I take notes, probably. So that'll be like one meeting, and I'll either be looking for a new job or no longer allowed to go to the meetings, one or the other. And then who did treasurer? And Kevin Jenkins is going to be the treasurer and the vice chair.
Okay. You actually had a report. So I don't actually have a report from a local agency formation commission. Environmental Matters Committee, we didn't meet. Ad hoc committee, community forest, did you guys?
We met, yes, we did meet. So we talked about, we recapped the meeting we had with Green Diamond Resource. So we did meet with Director Mayo, and I met with and staff met with Green Diamond. We met with Craig Compton and outgoing whatever Gary Ragnarson's title was, and his replacement, whose name is Alicia Goldstein or something like that. We met and talked about our participation with each other. Covered a lot of one of the looming questions was, of course, was related to access and how we're going to work through access, and how their support for us related to public input during access, and how that'll look on the deed. And then also we talked about during escrow, who's going to be responsible for cleaning the site and having the site as pristine as possible when we take over the site. And that was very, very surprising that they're without hesitation are going to be responsible for the cleanup of the site before it changes hands. And then we'll see how long it stays clean after they get done with that. And then also that was very, very productive part of the conversation. And then also the part that put more on Pat's plate, and that's to assist in the fuel reduction grants that are available to public agencies. That Green Diamond very graciously said that they would assist us in getting those applications in, and we would just have to be the lead agency. Now I'm done.
Okay, that was the E6 thing.
Oh, and then we just basically we recapped that. Yeah, we recapped that at the community forest meeting, and I don't remember. Did we talk about anything else during that meeting?
No, let's recover that.
We covered that. Did you have anything else on that, Dennis?
No, I think you covered it all, Greg. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, ad hoc committee, we didn't meet, so. We move to legislative and regulatory reports. Do we have any?
So did we not dissolve any of these? I was thinking, did we dissolve any of these committees when we did the assignments?
We were waiting until we finished the last Latent Powers before the Latent Powers one was.
Okay, and how about the environmental matters one? Is that one still an active committee too?
That was still on there.
Okay.
On the ledge stuff, I don't have anything.
Legislative or regulatory reports?
I do have some.
Okay.
I do. So we had, I'm on the legislative committee for CSDA and also on the board, and so we took action to oppose in its ballot initiative number 21-0026A1 and 21-0042, and basically the AAA, Arena Energy, Albertsons, American Beverage, the Farmers Insurance, Chevron, Comcast, Dart Container Corporation, Kaiser Permanente, State Farm Insurance, Union Pacific, and one of the car things are one of the enterprise cars are basically sponsoring this ballot initiative, and it's related to Proposition 218, and it would. So I'm going to just boil this down, but so basically at this point in time, our proof of being able to pay or being able to levy both taxes and rates and fees, and put them on a 218 process is related to costs that we represent through an engineer's report, are costs that there's a potential that we're going to occur over the next 5 years. What this would basically do would create that there would have to be a preponderance of the evidence that so it would basically raise the requirement to be able to justify rate increases to the preponderance of the evidence, and there'd also be another litmus test that those rates would have to be reasonable. And so to determine, how do you determine a reasonable rate? Say that, I'm low income, or I'm on a fixed income or something like that, and I'd say there's absolutely no way that I could afford a $150 water and sewer bill. It's not reasonable for me to have to pay that. So there's all sorts of issues with this, and so I think it's something that we're going to definitely keep an eye on. CSDA and Aqua are both have opposes. They have a position of opposition on these, and they're working with these agencies or this group to get some substantive amendments made to this, because it could turn being able to pass a 218 process into and it would impact Proposition 13, 218, and 26. among others, to lots of opposition, and might make it really hard for us to be able to do rates. And one of the things I could see it cause that you basically have to do a 218 process every year to be able to justify that you charged what you really needed to charge. Where now we do a 5-year, basically do a 5-year draft budget, figure out what we're going to need, and then we set our rates for that, and then every 5 years we adjust. And if we need more money, or if we need to raise those again, then we raise them. If we over collected, then we have the latitude to be able to do less. Now it would basically we would have to prove almost on an annual basis to stay out of hot water with this bill the way it's written. I don't know where it's going to go, but it'll definitely be on the it's definitely probably going to be on the ballot. I don't know what form it's going to be in, but me being the type of small government guy that I am, I looked at this and I was like, heck, if I didn't know the ins and outs of the mechanics of trying to have rates to be able to a governmental agency, I would say this makes perfect sense to me.
Well,
So I'll keep the board apprised of this, because this has the potential to put a serious impact, have serious consequences for us in our ability to do business.
right.
The way it's written now.
Right. I comment on it. I sat in on quite a few meetings relative to that at Aqua too, Greg, and it gets so convoluted probably, and this is going down a damn rat hole, but coming up with some kind of a impound account, let's say, that's not the right terminology for it, where people who could prove that they actually couldn't pay the bill, that we're talking about equity again, that there would be some kind of a funding source for us to tap into to pay that, because in fact, as a district, we just couldn't pay it all, and many can't. So you talk about how convoluted it is for it to actually work without destroying water delivery in California. Some kind of bizarre thing like that might have to be set up. So let's just hope that we can squash it. Anyway, those are the kind of things that are being talked about. Some of the kind of things that are being talked about.
Thank you. So we'll move to staff reports. Colleen's first.
And we're back to me. Hearing an awful lot tonight. Anyway, I will keep it short, but the main thing I wanted to add, to reiterate from the staff report, is that on the treasurer's report, you will probably have noticed some changes, and that has to do with December's successful bond issue. So on the investment cash flow page, the bonds are now listed, bond accounts that are held at Bank of New York Mellon Trust. Per the Government Accounting Standards Board, the par value is recorded as a long-term liability on the balance sheet. And there was a premium on the bond sale, so they actually sold for more than their face value. And that amount was posted as revenue in water and wastewater respectively, again, per GASB. Issuance expense, which includes both underwriting and bond insurance, was listed in the expense section of those and noted. So when you look at the budget actuals page, you'll see notes for those things this time. And finally, the total cash is posted in restricted assets, because this cash is legally restricted. We are only allowed to draw on those bond issues for the capital projects that they were issued for. We cannot use that money for any other purpose, so we cannot put it in general cash. So that's why the restricted assets line in the balance sheet page looks quite a bit bigger now, and the cash line isn't showing that bond cash. It's not. Just wanted to point that out and good add.
Thank you.
I had nothing further to add.
I was waiting for that. Leslie, you?
Guess what?
Guess what?
I got nothing else to say.
Okay. Pat, are you?
I got a couple quick things. One, want to tell the board that next March, we are also going to have a closed session talking employee negotiations, and April setting up the meeting right now with the board committee. And employees. And also wanted to mention that the State Water Resource Control Board, the wastewater arrearages program just opened up yesterday. James is working on filling that, so we'll submit a claim on that as well.
It's a simple thing.
Yeah. So James can handle it.
Simple.
That's it.
And there were, so that's for the bill, for sewer bills that didn't get paid during the COVID?
Correct. In the order of 25K or so.
Cool. All right. I have no report for President's report. Any board member comments, announcements, reports, agenda items, requests? Dennis, are you?
Yeah, Dave, let me, I would like you to, and Pat to stay on after the meeting. I need to speak to you both.
Okay. Is that okay with you, Pat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Supervisor Madrone access.
Oh, yes.
Has seen him.
Okay, Supervisor Madrone?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is this an okay time to just offer a comment?
Yes.
Thank you. First, I just want to applaud you all for continuing our phenomenal low-cost rents to the county, the leases for the library and the sheriff's substation. Thank you for that. That's incredibly generous, and the county very much appreciates it. Other than that, I'm just here to answer any questions if anybody has any. So that's it. Thank you for the opportunity to comment.
Ready? Thank you. Anyone? Oh,
Just waving it.
you're just waving. Okay. I thought you had a question. Oh. Well, okay. I mean, it's, I think it's adjournment time. Nobody else has got anything. Thanks, everybody. Oh.
Thank you all.